Hi guys, Henry Horror here. With me always to help bring the horror is my co-host, Mr. Johnny Noise. How you doing, John?
Doing good, Henry. We got a real special show for you guys tonight, guys. In studio is our second guest we've had in studio. We have Alec Bauer, and I'll give a quick kind of background. And welcome to the show, by the way.
Thank you. Thanks for
And,
having me.
you've already had a chat with Henry.
Yeah,
So,
thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you, Henry. Thank you, John. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
We're glad you're here in Alabama, of all places.
Right.
We'll get to that later, guys. There's a whole the whole crazy thing. So, real quick, you grew up in Huntington Beach, California. So you're like a beach kid.
Oh yeah, grew up there, and I was surfing and body surfing when I was a kid. Always at the beach, almost every day in the summer, and
Wow.
just
Okay.
skateboarding, riding bikes.
Right.
The whole thing.
So you were like a California outdoor kid all the way. Just
Oh yeah, we were
Come
me and
back
my
to-
friends skating around, surfing, and
wow,
it was definitely a different world.
different world from
from
Alabama.
Alabama.
Everything's different from Alabama. Now, that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying everything's different from Alabama. So you were involved with the this high school stuff now. The Academy for the Performing Arts.
Yeah.
At Huntington Beach High School. What was that? Like a theater group or something? Or
So basically, I was in high school. I had played water polo the first couple years of high school, and
that's a real thing?
oh yeah, that's it. They don't
Write that
have,
down, Henry. Water polo is a real thing. I don't know.
they don't have that in Alabama anymore. So I played that for the first couple years of high school, and
Wow.
they
That's
had this
cool.
music club, and it was called Academy of Performing Arts, but the department was called Commercial Recording Arts Department. And they would put on just rock and roll shows, and they play Zeppelin and Janis Joplin. They did a '60s show the year before I joined, and it was kind of like a School of Rock type deal.
Oh wow. Okay.
And my teacher, his name was Jamie Knight, and I was in his guitar class before I actually joined the club. And he said, "You need to join," and I said, "All right." And so I stopped the water polo, and my junior and senior year of high school, I joined the commercial recording arts department, and we'd do different shows every couple of months, and rock and roll. We'd do a lot of Beatles tunes and
Right.
and
Wow.
stuff that I would like, David Bowie, and we Ramones, Sex Pistols, Iggy Pop. I mean, we were playing all kinds
A
of
little bit
stuff.
of everything.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
we were.
Now pistols again to my zone
Oh yeah,
right there.
yeah. So I joined that up, and we did shows for a couple years, and we actually traveled to London and Liverpool too with that group
Wow.
to do a show at the Cavern Club.
Cavern
which was
Club. Yeah.
really cool. So
Well, that's pretty amazing. So
That
you
is
had,
amazing.
yeah, so you had that kind of exposure early on to where you're drawn to the stage, so to be drawn to that performance.
yeah,
You knew this is something that some people you can put them on stage and are like, oh hell no, they freak out. Even if you walk up to them with a microphone, like in an audience, like you see them just cringing.
yeah.
And some people are like, they can't get enough of it. Like so. It seems like you were just drawn to that from early on.
Yeah, I mean, even in school, I guess I was a little more quiet and stuff, but when I got up on stage, it was like a different,
Flip the switch and
Yeah.
you were on.
Yep, exactly.
Wow. So you did something with, was it a radio station? 103.1. What was that about?
Okay.
You called in or something? You were like a guest that was on frequently or something? Or
So when I guess it was like 2004, I was at a NASCAR race with my dad, and there was a cover band. It was like an all-star cover jam band, and it was called Camp Freddy. And the main core guys were Dave Navarro, Billy Morrison, Matt Sorum, and Chris Cheney, and Donovan Leach, who's Donovan's son. And so that was the core group of guys, but they would have different guests. You know, Ozzy would come on stage.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Josh Todd from Buck Cherry was there a lot. They had a lot of different guests, so it was a big kind of a train of guests that they would have every night. And so I saw them at the NASCAR race, and they're a really cool band. I said, I want to go see them again. So me and my dad went up to L.A. We saw them at the Wiltern. We were kind of hanging out after the show backstage, and I started talking to Dave Navarro a little bit, and you know, we were chatting. He's like, how old are you? I was like, 14. And he's like, man, you know all these songs? Like, what the heck? And I was like, yeah, I play guitar too. I'm learning. And he's like, oh man, that's cool. Well, you know, and we exchanged info and stuff. And so we would chat over emails and whatnot. And a couple years later, me and my friend that I was we didn't have a band yet, but we were starting to just jam together and, you know, do some stuff. And I took him to that show, the Camp Freddy show, and we were in the front row rocking out and, you know, having a good time. And the next, I think it was a couple days after the show, they hosted a radio show. It's called Camp Freddy Radio on Indy 103.1 in LA. And we called in, and you know, we were talking, and they said, yeah, we remember you guys from the front row at the show. You're those two surfer kids, those blonde kids. We said, yeah, that was us. And we said, can we play a song, one of your guys, you know, and one of the cover songs that you guys do? And they said, sure, go ahead and play it. And so we kind of just had an acoustic, and we played the song over the phone, and they loved it. And they were like, all right, we want you guys to call back next week and play another song. And this happened for at least, I don't know, 10, 12 weeks. Maybe even more.
Wow.
But we would do that every week. And finally they said, all right, I think you guys are ready. We want you to open for us at the Key Club in Hollywood. And
really?
Wow.
Yeah. So we were 15, and
you're like, what do we do now?
Yeah, okay. And we had a drummer, and you know, we had a band together, so we said, we're in, you know.
Yeah.
And they had us play, and we only did one song.
Wow.
Before they opened, but Billy Morrison and Dave Navarro and Matt Sorum, they all came up on stage with us, and they sang harmonies. And
oh, cool. Yeah.
You know, we had our little moment, and it was really fun. And those guys, they treated us so nice. You know, they didn't have to do any of that. We were just kids.
You were just kids, right?
And
right.
They, it was that initial relationship with me and Dave that kind of, and we, I still talk to him every once in a while, but not too much nowadays.
Yeah.
Just a couple messages here and back between me and Billy and Dave. But yeah, they kind of took us under their wing, and they just treated us so nicely. It was
so from like a high school performing arts thing to a radio show to being asked to come on stage. I mean, they just fast tracked. It's like you opened up Pandora's box.
Yeah.
And once you opened it up, like, oh well, you can't close it back now. You let it out.
Yeah.
So and just yeah. So that is well timing.
Yeah, it was everything happened quick. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
I mean, I didn't pick up a guitar. I was 13 years old when I picked up a guitar. So
yeah.
A couple years later, I'm playing in front of a couple thousand people at the Key Club, and it was
nice.
My dad, he bought tickets, and my school teachers were there. I mean, everybody was there. So it was a cool experience.
That is, that's cool as hell. So like from there, you were like a sound tech, roadie, and a driver for L.A.Guns. Was that how you kind of got it in with those guys, so to speak?
Yeah, my friend who he was in the performing arts club at school too, and he always mentioned his brother. He played bass in L.A.Guns, and he's on tour. And at first he played with Brides of Destruction. That was Tracy's band with Nikki Sixx.
Okay.
But Nikki Sixx had left, and they had another bass player. And then that bass player left, and my friend's brother, Jeremy Carson, he played bass in that band, and then he played bass in Tracy's version of L.A.Guns. So that was kind of the connection there. And my friend said, "Hey, man, my brother's band and Tracy, they need a guitar tech and a driver." And I had a trailer, and the first gig I did, I picked them all up in my Ford Explorer. So I didn't know any of these guys, and I went to Venice Beach, picked them up, and we went driving to a show in San Jose, and just kind of made friends with Tracy, and I had just graduated high school like 5 days prior to this, and so Tracy kind of saw me play. I was setting up his guitars and whatnot, and he said, "You want to go on tour with us as the tech?" And I said, "Sure, let's go."
At that point, like, what do I have to lose, right? Sign me up, let's go. Yeah.
So a couple weeks later, they had the van now, but it was my trailer still. So my dad's trailer, which I use for the band. We use it for motorcycles or whatnot.
Oh yeah.
But so they came and picked us up, and my mom, said, "Hey, I need to talk to all you guys." And she kind of sat him down on the curb and said, "You need to watch after my son, and he's 18 years old, and keep an eye on him." But I think I needed to keep an eye on them a little bit.
Yeah, right. You were the adult in the room with being the youngest guy, right?
Yeah, I was 18 and all the other guys were 40, except Jeremy. He was 24, 25 at the time. But yeah, it was. So we went on tour, and we, I was teching for him for that 2007 summer, and we did this big rock festival in Oklahoma. It was called Rocklahoma. And that was the first one. And so it was a really cool experience. I got to meet so many people, and all the bands that were playing. And I didn't get to play that one, but I was the tech or whatever. And when they played Ballad of Jane, they'd invite everybody up on stage, all the crowd, and they'd get as many people up there as possible. So during that song, I got on the mic and sang some harmonies and whatnot. But I toured with them for all of 2007 as a guitar tech, and then 2008 came along and things kind of were changing a little bit, but that's when I joined the band.
Well, you got actual started playing.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long did that last? That you were actually performing with them? Because you played rhythm and lead.
Yeah, I played. Tracy Guns was mostly the lead, and I was just rhythm guitar and backup vocals. But yeah, they had gotten signed to this record deal. It was the record label from Canada. They were called Alexis Records.
Mm-hmm.
And early 2008, they came down to the NAMM show, and they were talking with us, and they said, "Oh, we want you guys to sign on." And they were signed on, and I was just the tech. And I told Tracy, I said, "Hey man, I don't really want to tech anymore. I want to actually play, and I think I'm just going to stay here. I'm going to stay home and play with my band or start a new band." And he said, "How about this? Just play guitar in our band." And I said, "All right then." I said, I'm in. Yeah. So, we packed it all up, and we went to Canada to record this album. And we had a couple songs written, and we went up there. It was in Ontario. It was a couple hours north of Toronto. And it was this, they call it cottage country up there.
Okay.
And we were on the lake, this big cabin, and we had our, drums and all our gear set up in the living room of that house we were staying in. And we just stayed there for 2-3 months just writing songs. And
Oh, wow.
And we were just isolated from it all. We were a couple hours away from the nearest town.
Wow.
And so not much to do other than sit around and write and smoke weed and
Yeah.
drink a little bit. But, we wrote all these good songs and, we were super happy with them. And the singer at the time, we were trying to go kind of more modern.
Mm-hmm.
And he was definitely old school rock and roll, and which his name was Paul Black, and I'm still friends with him. But that we had another guy come in and write with us. His name was Marty Casey, and he was on that Rockstar in Excess TV show. It was like a reality show back in the day.
Yeah.
And we had him come in and write these songs, newer songs with us. And everything just kind of meshed so well. We were like, why isn't he just the singer? And so, Tracy wanted to get him as the singer, and we wanted to get rid of the other singer, Paul, who was the original L.A.Guns singer way back in the 80s.
Wow, okay.
But there was some drama back then.
Oh, always.
Oh, yeah, of course. They fired him back in the 80s because he was a junkie, and he passed out in one of the meetings with the record label. And so he wrote most of the L.A.Guns songs on the first album, and they took his songs and got a new singer and didn't give him credit on any of it.
Oh, okay.
So he sued, and there's a little bit of backstory here. He sued him. He won. He ended up getting credit on those songs, but once everything was said and done with, lawyers and money, he didn't
make a penny.
He didn't make a penny.
Wow.
So that was what happened in the 80s. Fast forward 20 years, Tracy wanted to get rid of him, and we wanted to get this new guy singing, and we were supposed to play a show in Mexico City, and we were just kind of in the middle of that record, and we were writing it, and Tracy said, nah, I don't want to do it. And he said, everybody, we can go back home to LA for a weekend, visit your family, and then come back here, and we got to be ready to record this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we went home for the weekend. I visited my girlfriend at the time and my parents back home, and we came back, and the singer and the drummer didn't come back yet. And then we were surfing on Metal Sludge, and it was the forum back then that we were. And we see that our singer and drummer had went to Mexico City, and they played the show without us.
Nice.
And so Tracy was not happy.
Holy shit. Yeah.
And, they were up there, we're L.A.Guns, and they had a guy in a wig, this is Tracy Guns, and so he was was pissed.
I can imagine, yeah.
So he, he fired Paul Black from the band, and we hired Marty Casey to come in, and there was, while all this was going on, we had a camera crew following us around to make a reality show out of this thing.
Oh, no.
So that added a whole nother element.
Right.
And so this is all on film somewhere. I have like one episode of it, but it never, none of it ever panned out. This whole thing blew up. So Paul got fired, and he was pissed off, and we said, forget it. Let's go record the record we want to record, and let's do it. And so we got in the studio with Steve Thompson, the producer, and we recorded it. It was probably, I think we recorded it in maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and it was pretty quick. And right after we were done recording, we hit the road. We were out of there, but there was more drama at that point. The record label had advanced us a large amount of money to Tracy and Paul Black and Jeremy, and it was $150,000.
Right.
And Tracy was buying amps, guitars. He was buying all kinds of kinds of shit. And we had gotten paid for like the first couple months we were there, and we were still owed for that second part of making the record after we came back. Mm-hmm. And during that whole drama, right before we left for tour, the money that was in the band's bank account got taken out of there, and 150 grand. There was, after all the spending, the frivolous whatever spending was done, there was probably 100 grand left in there, and so it was gone, just gone. And the record label president, he was mad because he said that was the money for everybody to get paid off of.
Right.
And it was gone. So supposedly Paul Black had, after he got fired, he was driving home, and somewhere in Texas he went to the bank and took all that money out, supposedly. I still don't know exactly who took that money.
Wow.
Because part of me thinks Tracy took the money because he was still buying
stuff like crazy.
Yeah, he bought these Dr. Z amps, which were great amps, but he probably bought 20 of them and just made a wall out of it. And,
oh my God.
They were like $3 or $4 grand a piece. So
right.
I'm thinking there, so who Paul took the money or who took the money? So, but
wow.
Anyway, all that aside, the record label president, he was pissed off, and he was pissed off at Tracy. He basically kicked him off the property. And me and Marty, the singer, were the only ones left allowed on the property.
Oh my God, wow.
So we had finished little parts on the record that we needed to finish, and then we left, and we had an RV, but that was the record label's too. He said, "You ain't taking it. It's staying here with me." And we hired a bus, and it was us, L.A.Guns, and Faster Pussycat all on the same bus.
Oh, okay.
And
wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there was 12 of us, and there was just bunks in the lounge in the back, and
so the bus was rocking the whole way down the road.
Oh yeah, we were.
There's no doubt.
It was close quarters, and I mean that tour was a lot of fun. We had a great time, and we did Rocklahoma that year again.
Okay.
I got to play at that time, and we did the tour that summer, and after that we went to South America for a little bit, did some touring down there, and we did some more local gigs in 2009. Just Arizona, Texas, and California, and then by summer 2009, me and Marty Casey, we kind of talked it out, and we said we're both going to leave the band at that point. So, because the record we had made was never going to come out, and that reality show wasn't happening anymore. So it all kind of just fell apart, and we never got paid. That's
the thing, right?
We never got paid for the record, and when we were on tour, I would get paid here and there, but I still wasn't paid in full every night. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
And so, I never had a contract with them. It was a handshake deal. I was 18, 19 years old. So,
right.
But in the scheme of things, he owes us some money or whatever. But, I got to be in a rock band and tour South America and North America when I was 18 years old. So, I mean,
the experience was kind of worth some of the aggravation that you went through.
Looking back on it now, there was some stuff that could have been handled better or whatever, but, it was what it was. And that was, touring with them, it was some of the best times I've ever had. You know what I mean?
I'm sure, yeah.
It was crazy.
It's crazy,
It took a toll, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So looking back on it, I don't regret doing it at all, but it was time for a change when I left, and so I just moved on.
Yeah.
So,
wow. Yeah. That's it makes my poor little morning noise story sound like a pop-up book, Here he is, look. I don't I know Henry had a few questions he wanted
Yeah.
to ask you.
Well, we pretty much covered some of them already, but let's talk about. Well, first of all, you mentioned you got to play the cavern when you were in the high school program. Can you kind of describe the vibe of what it was like playing there? Because that's such a famous place, you know, with the Beatles playing there, starting out there and all. Can you describe maybe the feeling of what it was like playing the cavern?
Yeah, so when we went down there, it was called the International Pop Festival, and there was stuff going on at the cavern and all the other bars around the area, and there was just music going on all over the place. So when we got there, we did the sightseeing stuff and whatnot, but when it was our night to play, we there was two stages at the Cavern Club. I think the original Cavern Club actually burned at one point, and they rebuilt it to look exactly like it was.
Hmm.
And but there was that original Beatles stage with the brick kind of round thing there, and we had played there kind of early in the night, and they had built another stage in the back, and Paul McCartney had played there one New Year's Eve. He played a show at the Cavern, and they had built that back room and stage just for him to play that show. And we closed the night out back there, and we played mostly original songs, and we had different kids from the program that would write songs, and I was kind of just the fill-in. I wasn't really writing songs at that point yet, but I was just the fill-in. I would play guitar on a couple songs, and then there was another band I played bass for them, and then the last band of the night I played drums in that band. So I was on the stage the whole night, but I was just kind of moving around to different instruments. But I mean that whole weekend when we were there, it was a lot of fun. The people there, they were, you guys are from California and you're out here, and they didn't really know what was going on, but we did a couple Beatles covers, like to close the night out, and so it was cool. Our originals were fun, but definitely throwing in some Beatles covers at the end, it got the crowd going.
Yeah,
And
instant connection kind of to the music.
yeah, and so it was, but we had a good time there, and I've never been back there since, but it was a good time. I loved doing it, and the people there were, you know, they some of the people we went into London too, and they knew exactly. They said, "Oh, these guys are from the United States," and we were partying and having a good time too, trying to keep it on the down low, away from the teachers. But they let us go, and we were out at the bars and we were partying, and so it was a fun time. It was basically a 5-day party and we got to play the
music.
Club.
Right. What's cooler than that, right?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Chaperones.
Yeah. They took the kids back the next year. I had already graduated, or a couple years later, and those kids, they got a little too rowdy, and I don't think they ever did the trip after that.
That's enough.
We kept it pretty cool. We had our fun, but we didn't get into any trouble per se. Just fun trouble.
Fun trouble. Yeah.
No criminal activity.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know exactly what happened on the other trip, but
oh my God,
something happened, and that was it for that.
Yeah.
Wow, man. What a trip.
Yeah. But yeah, Cavern Club was fun.
Wow.
Hopefully
That's
get
awesome.
back there someday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So let's talk about your While You Were Waiting album. I was listening to a couple of jams from that, man, and I gotta say, man, it really touched a bit of home for me. So I think it's really, really good.
Yeah, man. Thank you. We talked a little bit before about one of the songs off there, Rail Rider, and I'm big into trains, and so I wanted to always write a train song. And it was that song kind of just came to me, and it was quick. It was like a 20-minute writing session for me. I was just sitting on the couch, strumming some chords, and just started writing down some lyrics. And I was like, all right. And an hour later, I had the song. I was like, all right, let me go record this thing right now before I forget it.
Yeah, right.
Because that always happens.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I recorded it, and boom, it was done later that night. I recorded some harmonica on it, but yeah, I released that album in 2018, and it was songs, like a couple of those songs were those quick, kind of fast, got them together, but other songs were from 2009 or 10 in that era, or even before that, 2008, some of them, and kind of just threw it together, and I recorded what I could on my end. And I actually had a friend who I went to college with. He lived in Moscow, Russia at the time.
Oh, wow.
And I would send him over some of the tracks, and he had a recording studio there, which he lives in Germany now. After the war in Russia and Ukraine started, he got out of there. But his name is David Sidnev, and he's one of my closest friends. So I'd send over the tracks to him and his friend Andre, who was a drummer. He would lay some drums down on it, and David would lay some bass on it, and we kind of just shoot the ideas back and forth across the world, and we boom, we had an album.
Yeah.
And and then I just released it on my own, and yeah, it was that's how that happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool, man. I'm gonna definitely have to pick that up, man, because what I've heard from it, man, I just fell in love with it right away, man. Like,
awesome.
It was. I don't know how to describe it. I think a lot of it. I think a lot of a lot of it had to do with that it brought me back to when I used to listen to music with my dad, and I know my dad would have really enjoyed that song because you mentioned San Antonio in it. And my dad, anytime anybody ever mentioned San Antonio in a song, that made Dad's cool list. Like I think it's Three Dog Night that sings China Grove, and they mention a line about a little town not too far from old San Antonio.
And around San Antonio.
Yeah. And
Doobie Brothers.
Yeah, there you go.
oh, is it the Doobie Brothers?
Doobie Brothers,
Okay,
yeah.
I knew it was one of my dad listened to like a lot of Three Dog Night and a lot of Doobie Brothers, and but he just thought the world of the Doobie Brothers, because like I said, my dad had this little saying, they sang about San Antonio in that song, they're bad, I swear to God, my dad sounded just like that. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. It really, really, like I said, it really struck home with me, and I liked it because it struck home with me, and it struck a chord with me in a really good way.
Yeah, I mean, I have similar experience because when I was a kid, me and my dad were driving around, and he had a Volkswagen Squareback, and we would drive around in that, and he'd have, tapes of the Doobie Brothers and Jimmy Buffett and, different bands, Beach Boys, and we'd listen to all kinds of stuff. And, that's basically how I got into music, was just me and my dad listening to stuff. And the stuff I write, I try to write stuff that I like, you know what I mean? And on that album, you can hear the different genres of stuff that's going on there. And I just, I definitely don't try and make it for someone else. And if someone else likes it, cool, but I definitely tried to write songs that I would like. And, if I was happy with them, then, I I'd be happy with the album. And I kind of just like the songs me and my dad grew up listening to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm still doing today.
Still don't. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome. Speaking of, you mentioned Jimmy Buffett. Speaking of which, I heard you did a play not too long ago, or some kind of stage production that was Jimmy Buffett themed or something else. Fill me in a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Return to Margaritaville.
So when I was a kid, I was really, my dad had all the Jimmy Buffett records, and when I was, I don't know, I think it was like 93, the album Jimmy came out with, it was called Fruitcakes. And my dad had gone to Tower Records after work, and I remember him bringing home that CD, and he popped it right in the player, and we listened to it. And I had liked Jimmy before that because I grew up, my dad loves Jimmy Buffett too. And but I remember listening to that Fruitcake CD, and that was like just the sounds that were coming out of that. I was just I fell in love with it, and I was obsessed with Jimmy Buffett when I was a kid. And my dad and my mom, they brought me to a Jimmy Buffett show at Irvine Meadows in California. And that was my first concert ever. I was probably 3 or 4 years, I think I was 4 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And, my dad, he before we got there, he said, "You're going to see some stuff when you're at this concert. You're going to smell some stuff, and just don't take anything from anybody, and just kind of stick by me, and we'll have fun." But yeah, I, went to my first Jimmy show. That was my first concert ever when I was 4 years old. And yeah, I just, been a huge super fan, parrot head ever since I was a kid, and so when I moved here to Alabama, I hadn't really played a lot of shows, and I just randomly overheard someone talking at a restaurant about an audition later that day for a musical, a Jimmy Buffett musical. It's called Escape to Margaritaville. And, I said, well, I got to go audition for that. I mean, I've never done any acting, but let's go. Let's try it out.
Yeah.
And so I, went home, changed my strings real quick, and went to the audition and played a Jimmy song for him. And, the guy, Joe Fiselli, he was the director of it. He said, "I want you to come back and read some lines in a couple days." And I said, "Sure," And he said, "Do you have any acting experience?" I said, "No." He said, "All right, we can work around that, and we'll figure it out." He said, I'll work with you a little bit, and we'll figure it out."
Yeah.
So I went back and read some lines, and looking back at it now, I mean, it was only 3 months ago, but looking back at how I read the lines then, it was real flat and kind of a dud, but
Yeah.
they needed someone who can sing and play all those songs, you know what I mean? And that was me. So he casted me as the lead role. The character's name was Tully Mars, and here I have a guitar strap here. See that? It says Tully. I had that made. And the guy who made the strap, his name is Terry. His strap company is called Action Custom Straps, and he made all of Jimmy's straps too.
Oh wow, okay.
So that's how I kind of knew him from before. And my co-star in the play, who played Rachel in the play, she designed it with her graphics, and so we had it made. And but yeah, I got casted in the role and just kind of thrown into it, and never acted before, and got through it, and the show was a success, and I had a great time with it. And
it was it was a fun. I'm not a parrot head, at all, and like the first part of before the intermission.
Yeah.
We're sitting there, and she didn't quite get it per se. So but then when things kind of picked up, but for me, but the music stuff and everything was good, but the kind of the humor and the slapstick and the double takes on like what whatever that was so it was a real funny audience involved performance, and I was telling Harry at one point, we're sitting there because they had like a stage and they had another higher walkway where they had like a volcano thing, simulating this whole island deal, right?
Yeah.
And there's a walkway, and out of nowhere, I said, where did Bigfoot come in? So it's like, I mean, during the play, like all of a sudden this guy in a Bigfoot costume runs across this top walkway, and when I looked at my wife, did you see that? I was like, what the hell was that? So it was hilarious. It was hilarious. So I mean, and the rest of the cast, there was just a lot of slapstick pushing around and this and the other. But if you paid attention to it, the play it told a story and it tied together kind of at the end.
Yeah.
Which was the guy looking for his
it was
lost shaker of salt.
Yeah.
The pirate.
Yeah. JD.
Yeah.
It was kind of my other co-star Zach, who played Brick, my best friend in the play. He kind of described it as a drunken Hallmark love story movie.
Yeah.
And
it was.
Yeah, a drunk party Hallmark love story, because my girlfriend in real life, her name is Rachel, and then the girl who played my co-star in the play, her character's name, who I ended up with, her name was Rachel, and so that was kind of a similarity there in the play.
Made it easy.
Yeah, it was.
You forget that name, you're on a porch, on a couch, buddy. Done.
And so I mean the whole story was cool. It it had all the classic Jimmy songs in there, and Joe, the guy in the Bigfoot suit was the director, Joe.
Oh really?
Yeah. And so and we he added that in at the last minute too. He was like, you know what, I'm gonna get a Bigfoot suit and I'm gonna run it.
And, well, you don't go to the Walmart by a Bigfoot, so we had to have it somewhere.
He must have had it.
I mean,
but yeah, I mean the whole cast and crew of that show, and I've done, music productions like the ones in high school that were similar to that, or I played in the pit, in high school for their shows.
Yeah.
But I've never done the acting, and just to kind of be thrown in there, I definitely needed some work on my acting, but once I got comfortable, I got more and more comfortable on stage. But all those the younger kids who were in the ensemble, who were in college, I mean, they just had so much talent, and they could sing their asses off.
Yeah.
And they were, it was me, I was strumming my guitar the whole time. They're doing these dance moves, and they're flipping around and and singing perfectly while doing it. And, some of these kids' voices, they're just like, I would look back, and there was this one guy, Darius, who played Jamal in the play, and I would hear him doing some harmony, and I'd look back and I'd go, holy crap. Like,
wow,
and even all the girls and everybody, they were just so talented, and it was really refreshing to kind of step out of the music scene, even though we were singing and playing still, but just a different kind of world, and it was enjoyable to do that whole thing.
It was really fun to watch. I gotta say, we had it was fun to watch. And then who played the Jamaican lady who was kind of like the manager of the. She was hilarious.
So her name is Sanaa, and she sings with a local band. I can't remember the name exactly right now, but she sings with the band, and she's an actor and actress, and she stole the show. Everybody I've talked to, that's who they mention, and she nailed it. And that first night when I was doing the audition and reading, I was sitting next to her. I was talking. I said, I've never done anything like this. She's like, you got this. And she was always encouraging, and she's got a YouTube channel, actually. It's called Come Along With Me, and she does all these videos and kind of just documents what she's doing. But she was an amazing singer, and just all the scenes I did with her just kind of felt seamless, and I don't know, it was something special working with her, because she's got it.
She was a firecracker on stage.
Yeah.
You know, she was just to kind of give you a visual. You know, she was just this little, you know, very petite girl. You know, she played. She talked with a Jamaican accent in the play.
Yeah.
And she was, when she was on, I mean, oh man, you know, she ran the stage.
Yeah.
I mean, she just ran the stage. Well, like, whoa, you know, she was on it. But it was a really, for not being a parrot head, because we got there, you know, everybody's outside and again, hand us all this paraphernalia, you know. And we got the ladies, and I'm like, we're not really parrot heads, but okay, I'm gonna get into this thing, whatever, you know. And the only shirt I had was with skulls and palm trees on it or something. So this is what I got. We're gonna go with this, right?
Yep.
So, but it was really, I gotta say, it was super entertaining, and of course, you know, you can sing and play, which helped out a lot as far as musically. It was fantastic. I thought it was really good, but it was funny. It was like, you know, once we kind of were getting into the whole thing, it was like, what's going to happen next? You know, because you didn't know what the hell was going to go on next. You know, what wacky antics are about to happen on stage. And so I think overall, I thought it was really cool. So
I definitely enjoyed doing it, and you know, first kind of experience with the acting thing, and I mean, it definitely. I mean, I was, you know, we were rehearsing every night for like 2.5 months, and it definitely was a lot of work was put into that thing, and people, you know, they, you know, we spend time rehearsing instead of, you know, with our families and girlfriends and husbands and wives or whatnot, and you know, so it definitely put a strain on things at home, not just for me, but for everybody. Right. And but you know, it was all for the love of Jimmy and art and you know, performance. So, but I don't know if I'll ever
delve into that again,
act again, but
he's got some stuff coming up, and they're always looking for people to come in and do the, you know, and whatever. But they would, you know, like for someone like myself, even it would have to be something really, you know, if there's anything musically, it'd have to be some kind of crazy Sex Pistols and vicious shit for me to even think about, you know. Yeah. But it does. Every time we try to put this together for the longest time, I send him a text and I'm at rehearsal. All right. This one was. Yeah. Because Henry goes, what's going on? I said, well, he's doing a show and he's at rehearsal for months, you know, trying. So we say, okay, we'll just figure it out, you know. And so we finally got this together, you know, and how we found out about all this stuff is your girlfriend.
Yep, my girlfriend Rachel.
Rachel happens to be my dental hygienist. Didn't know, right? So when I go to the dentist, I'm a little nervous. Okay, let's get it over with. You know, get out the hacksaw and whatever and the drill and just, you know, whatever you're gonna do. So when I get nervous, I get chatty. So, you know, we've been seeing her for quite a bit, and I'm always talking about my music and this and that. She goes, oh, my boyfriend's in a band. I said, okay. I didn't know it was L.A.Guns. She just told me you're in a band. I said, okay, cool. Yeah. Yada. Then finally she hands me, like, I'm not sure if I had the suction thing in my mouth or the hook, whatever, something was going on. So she gives me your card. You know, I was like, oh, you know. So I look up yourself. I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. You know. So anyway, that's how we, you know, and we didn't meet till actually the night of the show.
Yeah.
Yep. So no idea, you know. So that was kind of how all this came to pass, was me getting my teeth cleaned.
Wow.
And then run to this guy. So go figure it out. This is like shopping at Walmart. I was like, is that Gene? What are you doing, Mr. Simmons? How's it going? Just picking up some shit. oh hey, But no, seriously, it was just one of those things, and and this is so not knowing that we're in Alabama, definitely I've been here for 20 years, and I'm still trying to. I'll never like fully adjust. I think
Yeah.
to the whole thing. I think we just come to terms with this is where we are. This is very cost effective for us to stay here at this
Yep.
juncture. I got a huge spread. I got a decent place that I don't spend a lot of money on, so I can have my toys and play my music. And
Yep.
so if you take all this money and you dump it into a new house in another state somewhere, I wouldn't have the studio, wouldn't have
Yeah.
my guitars, wouldn't have none of this stuff. So I'm staying in Bama.
Yep.
You guys came here because of your girlfriend's family.
Yeah.
They were Space Rocket Center, well, military. Weren't they?
Yeah. He was a Space Force, Air Force. And,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
he had retired. They were at Vandenberg in California.
Wow.
And
Okay.
he retired, and his wife retired, and they moved out here. And he works for the government still, hush hush job. But
Yeah.
we were just kind of looking to get out of California. We were in an apartment back there, which was great, but we wanted to buy a house, and so we started looking in Arizona. We started kind of looking at trailers, and for like a single wide trailer from the 70s in Arizona where our mom lives, they wanted like a couple $100,000 for it, and
It's insane.
Yeah,
It's
so-
insane.
Rachel's brother said, come out to Alabama. We'll go look at some houses. You can get a stick-built home for a couple $100,000. And
Right.
we said, okay, we'll come check it out. And I wanted to be out kind of in the country, like where you guys are, where we're at.
Where
right
we're
now.
at. Right.
And so we drove from Madison, Huntsville, a couple hours south to Collinsville.
Yeah.
And we looked at this house, and we loved this house. The first house we found, we loved it. And it was just out of our price range. And it was an older house. It was, built in the 80s. It needed some work. So we didn't end up getting that house. We looked at a bunch of other houses kind of in Sylvania and Fort Payne.
Mhm.
But we found a house down the road from the first house that we loved. And we ended up buying that one. And it was kind of sight unseen. We didn't get to look at that house the week we were here.
Mm.
So Rachel's brother came down, checked it out for us, FaceTimed us, and
Wow.
we
Yeah.
said, "Oh, let's go for it." And
Yeah.
so we, packed our stuff up in a pod, and we shipped it across the country. And
Wow.
I got a U-Haul in the back of my truck, and
Oh, that's that.
me and my dad drove out, and Rachel came out a week later, and she had some work and stuff at home to finish up, and
Holy shit.
we were here.
Wow.
Some outsiders moving in.
Well, yeah, I got beamed down too. Yeah, I was on the Enterprise, and there you go, buddy. From New Orleans to Bama. I'm like, what? And it just, I mean, right now it's working for us.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't think that okay, Henry and I met, and we started doing all of this, and now it's at the point where where are you gonna go? At 2.25% interest that I'm paying on all this mess.
Yeah.
There's nowhere for me to go to have some money left in my pocket, have my toys, and do this. I'd be in a garage apartment somewhere, paying $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
So I think no, it's not going to happen. But you have another question, Henry? No, we started rambling on, brother,
Yeah.
man. So
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Because I was gonna say, now this might not happen right away, but me and Rosie we're looking now that thankfully my mom's doing better. She's recovering and she's cancer free now. We're thinking about moving back out, and one of the places we were thinking of was Huntsville, Alabama, because Rosie's my fiance's she's a veteran, and we're looking at different places, and I was like, well, if we move out of state, Huntsville is like the economic situation is good out there, and the cost of living is still relatively pretty low.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there
It's
there there's there's one other place that Rosie said she wouldn't mind moving to, and you're never gonna believe which state it was, John.
not Jersey.
She said, "I wouldn't mind living in New Jersey."
No, no, no. I mean, I'm saying no, but you know, the family I do have left in Jersey, everybody's scattered because
Yeah.
after 9/11,
Yeah.
you know, your $70,000, $80,000 home you bought back in the '60s now selling for $500,000.
Yeah.
Everybody left New York, so you drove the taxes up. Now you're paying 10, 15, 20 grand of taxes depending on So that's insane. But South Jersey or North Jersey, there's an area of New Jersey where New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York State meet. Okay, you're way up there by the ski resorts and stuff, but it's still pretty expensive. You know what I mean? Where you can, if she wanted to work around Huntsville, okay, you can live outside of Huntsville a little bit and drive in and live relatively, inexpensively per se. The Huntsville area is blowing up.
Oh yeah, it's getting real popular.
When I came here, the rich neighborhood, so to speak, houses were 300,000 or 400,000. Now they're 600,000 and 700,000.
Yeah.
So anywhere in that area is going to be. So if you get out of the county a bit, 20 minutes down the road, so to speak, and so it's Gurley or something. Once you get out of that area, you're golden.
Yeah.
So, when you guys start looking, just let us know. Come down, we'll give you the grand tour.
Yeah.
Because she probably can get in somewhere with her stuff because she's a disabled veteran like myself, so she's got opportunities that are open.
Yeah.
Plus a lot younger, so I want my downhill slide, so I'm done. But there's a lot of opportunities and stuff, for her especially, and but yeah,
that's something we're definitely thinking about. Yeah, we're definitely thinking about it in the future. Like I said, it might not be something that will happen tomorrow, but it's just something that's on the table for right now. But speaking of the future, Alec, tell us about what's in the pretty near future for you.
Well, in a couple weeks, I've got a new album coming out, and I just finished it up a couple weeks ago, and I've been working on it since the last one in 2018, and COVID kind of happened, and I wrote more songs since then too. So right when we moved into the house we bought, I think it was the first or second night we were there, I had set up my music room, which is very similar to this, and I just kind of picked up the guitar and started strumming some chords, and boom, I wrote this. It was another one of those songs. I don't know what it is when that happens, but some songs I write them and it takes years to finish them. I'm like, I had that idea, I had the one chorus, and but whatever that happens, I'm like, all right, let me just record this right now, because if I don't do it right now, something's going to change. The vibe is going to change. So, but I recorded that song, and then I recorded a couple more songs, and me and my friend David, guy who I talked about earlier, he's in Germany now, and he doesn't have his recording studio anymore. He left all of his gear behind, but he still had his computer and enough to mix the songs.
Wow. Okay.
And so and the drummer, Andre, that I talked about earlier, he actually passed away about 5 years ago now. So the songs that I had recorded right after the album, after he passed away, I was going to have him play drums on it. Mm-hmm. And when he passed away, I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to hire another drummer. So I basically changed the style of the songs, and I used a washboard, and I got a stand-up bass, and I kind of just left the drums out of those two songs.
Right.
And they're included on the album. But David, his wife ended up singing on one of the songs. It's called "Blown Away." It's the first song on the new album, and it's up right now on the single is up out there already. But we did a little remix and remastered to all the songs, and but yeah, we did the same thing, kind of sending them back and forth, and a couple years went by after Andre passed, and I said, all right, this song needs drums. So I found someone in Georgia, actually, before we even moved here.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He recorded some drums, and he ended up playing 3 songs on the album, and his name is Brian Hudson. And then on the last song that I had, it's kind of a random song. It was about when I worked at Walmart during COVID, because I had a recording studio, which we didn't really get into any of that, but worked in recording studios for a while and recorded stuff with Phil Collin from Def Leppard and different projects. So I did that during from 2014 to 2020. I worked in recording studios in L.A. and Orange County. And so basically I did this, the new song, and I had another friend play drums on this last song. I named it Minimum Rage, The Tale of Walmart. And
oh my God.
So it's about working at Walmart, and I was a Cap 2 stocking shelves there and unloading the trucks and whatnot.
Nice. Oh God.
And yeah, I wrote a song about it, and so it's kind of a random song, but it definitely pushes a certain message, and I don't think Walmart, they might not be too happy about it, but there's a certain line in there that Sam Walton said, "The dream of Sam was lost to greed." But yeah, it's an interesting song. At first, I was kind of trying to make it like a outlaw cowboy song, and then it turned into this. Once the lyrics came, it turned into this song about Walmart. But I have a friend who I met in the recording studio days. His name is Matt Starr, and he plays for Ace Frehley. And the song was it's acoustic, but in the middle of the song, I had this urge. I was like, you know what? I want to kind of do a metal breakdown in the middle of this thing. And so it kind of just, after the second chorus, it kind of comes in, double bass, and I'm doing the guitar, and it's all an acoustic. And so it's kind of like a acoustic metal breakdown in the middle, which is kind of random. But I knew Matt could do the double kick on it, and he just nailed it, and the rest of the song, he's laying back a little bit, but there's some good fills and some stuff in there. But that middle part, man, he just going for it.
Yeah.
And so I got that song and a bunch of other songs on there, and 2 weeks, August 26th, Tuesday, August 26th, I'm going to be releasing that. So
on vinyl or
just on streaming platforms.
Okay.
And whatnot. Everybody, they always ask about the vinyl.
Well, that's the thing, right?
And it's, I would have to get it remastered just specifically for the vinyl, because nowadays the mastering, they push the limiters and everything so hard that the wave file just looks like a block.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if we were to put that on the actual vinyl, it would be so loud it would jump the needle off the record.
The needle, yeah.
Wow. So they need to remaster it, and it's a little pricey to press those vinyls too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make some CDs. I usually did last time I did maybe 500 CDs, something like that. And this time I might not even do that much. I might just do 300, somewhere around there. But, there's older folks, they still like to have a piece of
Well,
physical
yeah,
media. You know what I mean? Which I do too.
Yeah, I was about to say, and I know if you see Henry's wall behind him there. It's
Yeah.
like, well, he needs a bigger house because he's a collector of stuff. So
Same here.
it just literally, there's albums, there's drum heads from, it's just, I mean, he's got everything.
Yeah.
And he just, you know, and it's always, we always talk back. I'm always kidding them. You're going to need, when you move out, you're going to need your own like outbuilding just for your stuff. So we can set it all up and get it a shot, you know. And I thinned out because I was covered with, you know,
Yeah.
so I started thinning stuff out. And, but yes, I like to have, you know, physical, like I said,
Yeah.
copies of stuff. And, you know, when we did ours too, the 45, the LP, you know, like I got the tracks on my computer on my Studio One, and
Yeah.
and you hear it, and it's like, okay, and it's got a nice good tone to it. But then when they pressed it, I'm not saying it diminished it, but it's a little thin. The sound kind of, it got a little, for me it sounds a little, and it could be just my system too, I don't know. But I can play it on my computer, you know, the stuff I recorded, and play back the files, and it just sounds a little bit heavier, a little more bassier, a little more tonal, and we're on the actual record this time. And that might be the issue with digital as opposed to going to, you know, putting on vinyl, and then I don't know. And it could have been my cheap ass record player too. You know, it really could have been. I just don't, you know. I don't know how all that works.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, nowadays, like I collect records too. I have a couple thousand, I guess, at home.
Holy shit!
I got those IKEA shelves, you know, and I've got them all in there. And when I started collecting them, I don't know, probably 25 years ago, I started with my dad's box of little milk crate, probably of 20 albums. He had a lot of Black Sabbath, Zeppelin, Jimmy Buffett, James Taylor, and you know, some different stuff. My dad's first record was Black Sabbath Volume 4, and I still have it. I put it out on the stand after Ozzy passed away a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we had a show about that. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. And you know, I was lucky enough to see Ozzy play at the Roxy and with the Camp Freddy guys who we talked about earlier. They were Billy Morrison and Ozzy. They actually have had a podcast together in the last couple years, but you know, we got to see him play at the Roxy and at the House of Blues. We saw Ozzy all the time in Hollywood, you know, but and that was a real bummer a couple of weeks ago, but you know, anyway.
Well, he was, you know, and Henry and I had talked about it too. You know, is the stuff that you know, he just over the years of just abuse, and you know, and then he had other conditions, and you know, even if he didn't abuse himself, he would be struggling.
Yeah.
You know, so how much of that really affected him? You know, and it's sad because he wasn't really that old. You know, he wasn't in today's
74 years old. Or
in today's I know guys still riding Harleys in their 70s and stuff. You know, I mean, so you know, but it's just one of those things, and we, like I said, we had Jason Virus here from Sugar Virus, and we started talking about the whole Ozzy thing when he was here, and so it's just one of those unfortunate things, you know.
Yeah.
But like you said, you know, he had one of those shows where he and Shannon were sitting in those theater seats and they were watching old footage of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never die. I'm just coming back for my last performance after I'm dead, you know. So he says, it's probably going to happen. And if anything, Henry will have the album on his wall.
Yeah.
Ozzy returns. He got resurrected.
Yeah,
you know?
that's
So,
true.
It is because I mean, you know, he's since we started doing this, you know, he's such a wealth of knowledge on a lot of stuff, you know, horror movies and different stuff and music. You know, I'm more of a, that was a cool album. Who was it? Oh, I forget the name of the band, but it was really cool. I just, you know, oh my God, in outer space. But a lot of times, like, we've done stuff, I'm like, okay, Henry's got the technical stuff, and I'm going to handle so how's your mom? Everybody's doing it, I have no idea, you know. But I kicked the Henry for that. So 19, whatever, you were here.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
how do you know this shit? How do you know this stuff? He just does. He's a wealth of information.
That's kind of similar to me. I mean,
Yeah.
my dad and my girlfriend, they called me Rain Man. 'Cause
Rain Man.
They're like, what year did that album come out? I'm like, 1974, 76,
76.
you know, whatever. And,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, you know. And,
I'm like the RCA dog going, "Rrr," you know. I don't know. So, but anyway, you want to we're at what, an hour and 10. You want to lander and
Yeah.
we'll do this again. I would hope. You're
Yeah.
more than welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Not that you live
Yeah,
100 miles
man.
away, so we can,
Yeah.
pretty close. I mean,
pretty close
it's fun
down the road.
checking out all your guitars and jamming.
Yeah, he walks in my house and says, "Hey, how you doing?" Oh, kick it up, and then he just runs through all my guitars. You know? So, okay, cool. I'm plugging shit in. Going, okay, but yeah, it was great having you on. And we definitely like to do this again. Get into maybe some some more stories. Maybe like you said, you worked in recording studios, so I'm sure you've had a lot of people that you had dealt with.
Oh, yeah.
I'll leave that to Henry. He'll probably dig up all the information. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, exactly.
Got a lot more stories that I could tell. We scratched the surface
That's
here,
the
but
surface. Yeah.
if we really wanted to get into it, we can. There's a lot of stories.
A lot of
when I was
stuff going on.
tour, and
That'll be the next episode we have you on, Alec.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's
I did want to ask one thing before we land the plane, though. Where can people go to find out more about Alec Bauer?
So I have a website. It's alecbauermusic.com, and all the info's up there about upcoming shows or my latest releases, and there's links up there to all my streaming services and music and all the bio info and pictures, and everything's up there on Alec Bauer Music. So I'm on social media, Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, it's all up
all over the place.
on Alec Bauer Music.
Yeah.
We'll bring you wherever you want, basically.
and we'll put that in the description for you guys because it's spelled differently than it sounds.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure at the end of the I'll have the link. Actually, I'll just put it up. We usually I'll do a scroll screen. They'll say for more information or whatever, and then I'll have your website on there, so people can find you. But look, I know I had fun, Henry. Thanks again for putting this all together. For all of you who don't know, this whole Inertia Channel thing was Henry's idea. If it wasn't for him, we would be sitting here today doing all of this stuff. And it's been a pleasure meeting you for the second time.
Yeah.
And I said you're welcome anytime. You want to do this or you want to go cut grass, let me know, push on a mower. But you got your own mess to deal with over where you're at, so I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
But
Gotta mow the lawn tomorrow.
oh yeah, exactly. So so here we are in Bama, guys. I mean, who knew? We have all these great people coming through and just looking for bigger and better things, not only with the podcast or musically and stuff like that. There's so much stuff going on right here in Alabama. I mean, I've met so many people because of music that I've never even would think about, being in a small farming community on top of a mountain in Alabama, and then if I have Henry as a neighbor, I'm moving out. I'm out, buddy. We're not gonna work. Our signals will cross up, or something's gonna whack out. You gotta, we need some distance. But
Yep.
anyway, dude, I'll let you go ahead and hit the landing gear, and we'll wrap it up.
All right, and thank you too, John, because I couldn't do this without you either, man. Seriously.
Oh, anytime. We're just getting started, brother. Just getting started.
Just getting started. Alec, thank you for being on our show. Can't wait to have you back again. And with that, guys, I will see you in the next video.
Later, Henry. I'll try to get some more people on the show too. I'll hook you guys up.